Here's where I made a kind of controversial pick. Second round, I want to get my anchor and then go back to my receiver build. Kyren Williams is available, but man, I'm just nervous about Blake Corum. And I was saying to myself, I'm not even sure if I have Kyren Williams ranked ahead of Isiah Pacheco. But I'm like, I just think Pacheco's the right guy. He's become a 3-down back, Andy Reid offense, caught the ball down the stretch. He's got a lot of touchdown equity. He's obviously shoved the other backs in that Kansas City rotation, to the sidelines. He's a high snap share, high touch share guy now. I just think this is the right pick. I don't know what my rankings are. I'll change them before this podcast comes out to reflect that I picked Pacheco over Williams. Yeah. I think a lot of people may have gone the other direction on that.
Yeah, I know I wanted to touch on this tier of running backs because I know I need to make a change in my rankings after being on the clock. And this is the best part about doing multiple drafts is you really look at your rankings and you put them to the test. And I mean, man, nothing, especially when we get to the salary cap draft portion, that'll really test how you feel about players. But that's almost just a completely different exercise because in a snake draft like this, you really do have to, when you're on the clock, weigh these players against each other. And this is a good player debate.
And this is how we do rankings, and people out there probably at least have some kind of idea of tiers or rankings, or maybe you're working off our rankings, whatever it is. But as you said, those rankings get tested when you draft. Mm-hmm. And that's why you do mock drafts. And that's why you do best ball drafts. And that's why the idea that you're just going to draft once. No, if you're listening to this podcast, you're not drafting once. You're going to have multiple teams or practice drafts, or maybe you did some best balls or different formats. And what happens is you have an idea what the player pool is like. And then when you're on the clock, you find out how you really feel. Mm-hmm. That's when your convictions kind of, that you water them and they grow, and you say, okay, so now Isiah Pacheco's over Kyren Williams on my list. Now, are you worried about Williams at all? Corum, how do you view that backfield?
Yeah, so I actually have Pacheco over Williams, so I would have made that pick with you, and I want to come back to him in a second. But on the Kyren Williams thing, and I'll spoiler alert say that my third round pick was also a Rams player, was Cooper Kupp. I'm a little nervous about the Rams ecosystem just being a little too fragile. There's your ecosystem ref, so you can take a drink right now, the folks at home. You go for it too, pal. I am just a little nervous about the offensive line injuries. I'm a little nervous about Puka's already dinged up. Matthew Stafford's obviously an injury risk. Cooper Kupp's an injury risk. Kyren Williams himself is an injury risk. But ultimately, I still think that I think Blake Corum will get mixed in a little bit, but if you look at the games where Kyren Williams wasn't even like a 80% of the touches player, he was still a highly productive back. So if things break right for Kyren Williams, if things break right for the Rams, I do think he has legitimate top 5 fantasy back upside. Whereas with Pacheco, and I wrote this in the draft blueprint piece, that all of these running backs basically outside of the first tier are really these like second round to third round backs. They've all got at least 1 to 2 serious warts. I think the serious wart for Pacheco is just that the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes had more completions inside the 10-yard line than any other quarterback. When they get down there, they try to throw the ball. So I think he just has a touch lower touchdown equity than Kyren Williams. But like I said, I think I'd still take Pacheco over him. But yeah, Williams is definitely a risky pick.
And it's interesting. When we get to the third and fourth round picks, we both ended up, this wasn't my plan. We both doubled up on an offense, and you doubled up on a Sean McVay offense, and I doubled up on an Andy Reid offense.
Well, you went in the fourth round, you went Rashee Rice. But yeah, so I think those are two offenses that are good to double up on. Sure. Yeah. Like if we're trusting a coach, I think I feel pretty good about McVay. I feel pretty good about you trusting Andy Reid there. So again, second round, you went Pacheco. Greg took Travis Kelce between us. And then a bunch of receivers went off the board. I will throw this at you, though, because this is the one that tested my rankings in the second round. I really thought Devon Achane, Kyren Williams. My rankings said Achane. When I got on the clock, my finger clicked, or well, I guess in this specific scenario, I shouted it out because that's how we were making these picks, and which was super fun. I don't think I've drafted like that in a long, long time, so that was cool. I said Williams, but my rankings said Achane, so I'm going to have to go and change that. How do you feel about Achane related to these other backs?
Yeah, Achane's tough for me because we're never guaranteed. I feel this way a little bit about Jahmyr Gibbs too. You roster these guys. You're not guaranteed on any Sunday they're going to lead their team in touches. You're not guaranteed if they have a goal. If they get inside the 5. Oh, they just scored a rushing touchdown. You don't know that your guy scored. Yeah. There's a decent chance it was Mostert. There's a decent chance it's Montgomery.
That's a good point.
So that makes me a little bit nervous. But look, Williams was a league winner last year. He's one of the most impactful moves. Why we always talk about hitting the fab market, the free agent market early. So if you hit on somebody, you get the most impact from it. And him and Nacua were two guys who tilted leagues. Maybe Nacua a little bit more because he was healthier for more of the season. But I think it comes down to what you see. A lot of people say, well, McVay's a one-back coach. And I think the best coaches work talent to scheme, not scheme to talent. And if they like Corum, Williams can still be a second-round viable player, even if Corum has a role. You just don't want to be a 60-40 or a 50 or a hot hand situation or something like that. But look, when I punched Pacheco, or I guess when I called out his name, I knew that the determination if it's at the right pick or not, it's going to be tied to Kyren Williams. My regret is going to be if Williams has another monster year, and he probably has a higher ceiling than Pacheco, then I'm going to feel like I blew it in the second round. I mean, that's already a lingering, did I do the right thing?
Interesting that you feel that way, though, because I think that if you just forget what happened in the draft, which the draft is over now, now it's moving forward to the season. I don't think Pacheco will disappoint you to the point that you're looking back on this pick with a level of regret or anything, just because I think he is a very solid selection in his own right.
Well, it also may speak to some people. I know at some point every draft's about upside. When you're making your final few picks, upside, middle round picks, upside, 6th, 7th round pick, upside. I think floor is part of the discussion in the earlier rounds. And some people are like, that's crazy. I'm playing to win my league. I'm going to make the hair on fire pick every round. I still care about floor. And I guess maybe Pacheco's floor felt a little bit more sturdy to me. And maybe that's why I made that pick.
I think that's totally fair. And again, I mentioned all of those backs in the 2nd to 3rd round range have at least one wart. I think Pacheco, my wart is they don't throw at the goal line enough. But with Williams, Kyren Williams, he's had injury issues. There's another back in his backfield. There's offensive line issues. There's overall, that's actually more. And so again, that's why I'm with you. I think Pacheco's the right pick there. But on the Achane thing, maybe if I didn't take Tyreek Hill in the first round, I would have taken
Achane
over Kyren Williams. So